Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try and do everything right, it still doesn't feel like enough? You maybe follow the plan, you track all your food, you do all the workouts, and yet you still feel like you're failing. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you're not actually missing anything, you're not lazy, and you're not broken. You're likely just stuck in perfectionism thinking. And it's actually just not in your head, it's also located in your nervous system. So let's talk about this. Hey, friend, quick heads up before we dive into today's episode. Something brand new just dropped and just for the summer, and you don't want to miss it. If you ever wished someone would just tell you what to eat, give you a plan that's laid out, and make it very simple to stay consistent all summer long, I've got you. The Nourish and Go Summer Meal Prep Menu is officially live and on sale. It's a 3-month gluten and dairy-free meal plan designed to help you feel energized, stay on track through the summer, and make healthy eating way less overwhelming, even if you're running from the office to baseball practice or just juggling summer travel. You'll get weekly breakfast, lunch, and dinners, full recipes, prep instructions, and no fluff. I made this to take the mental load off your plate this summer and give you meals that actually support your hormones, blood sugar, and energy. So if you want in, just head to the show notes or to my Instagram and the link in the bio, and you'll be able to purchase it right from there. So let's get started on today's episode. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today because this is one of those episodes every woman in our day and age needs to hear, especially if you've said to yourself, I just need to be more disciplined. I've lost motivation. I always fell off track. Why can't I just do the things? We're going to talk about the real reason that this happens, and it's probably not what you think. This is directly related to our expectation that we must be perfect, that we strive for perfectionism, and perfectionism gives us the results that we want. We often will identify ourselves as a perfectionist. I will often hear clients tell me I'm a perfectionist or I like things to be perfect. And I want you to know that this isn't a character flaw. You aren't naturally born a perfectionist. It's very likely that maybe someone is, but for the most part, we're not really born as natural perfectionists. We're conditioned to be perfectionists. And the conditioning that we receive usually as young girls, that we should be ideal, we should be perfect, we should be unheard, we should be easygoing, we should take care of others, is that it conditions our nervous system to think that this is how we must behave in order to get what we want. It's something that we do because we learned how to be ideal or perfect. And then we get to feel safe, loved, accepted, or in control. And today we're going to explore how perfectionism, micromanaging, and then self-sabotage are all symptoms of a deeper issue. It's your nervous system dysregulation and a lack of self-trust. And most importantly, I'm just going to walk you through how to start shifting it. So, what is perfectionism really? Sometimes we hold on to this identity and we actually love it, because I'm not somebody who just sits back. I'm not somebody who just lets life happen to me. It makes us feel like we're in control. It makes us feel like we're trustworthy. It makes us feel like others can look to us and depend on us. But I want you to see that perfectionism is not about having high standards. It's actually about fear, and it's about lack of control. For so many of us, we were taught directly or indirectly that doing it right means you will be safe. Being agreeable or going with the flow means that you're going to be more loved or accepted. And being high achieving is being more worthy. We're taught this as little girls, right? When we're helpful, we're told that, oh, we're so helpful. And someone will maybe dote on us a little bit more if we're more helpful or more agreeable. When we get really good grades in grade school and into into high school, we are rewarded for the good grades with an A. And then we get to have other achievements given to us because we got an A. And then we're recognized because of those things. Our parents recognize us, our teachers recognize us, people who we look up to start to see us and recognize us for our high achievements. Now, I'm not saying don't be a high achiever, but what I am saying is that is the high achievement driving something in you to allow you to behave in a certain way that you actually don't want to be behaving in anymore? As an adult woman, nobody's grading you anymore. Nobody's giving you an A and nobody's giving you an F. And so we take our day in and day out routines, and now we're trying to apply these things to our daily life when actually that's probably not how we want to be living our life. And it's really driving our nervous system into the ground, which is leaving us exhausted, overwhelmed, low energy, feeling like we can hardly get through the day, and then tossing and turning at night. These are all symptoms of your nervous system not feeling safe. So now, as an adult woman, now you got to heal your body because you've spent decades trying to be an overachiever and achieve perfectionism tendency and achieve perfectionism. And now you want to balance your hormones or lose weight. And when that will only happen when your nervous system feels safe and when your nervous system is good with your environment. But right now, you have conditioned your nervous system to only feel safe if you're doing it, quote unquote, right. But the problem is doing it right becomes the only way that you measure success. And any deviation from this, even resting, like productive rest, eating more, getting more high quality nutrients in so your body feels safe, slowing down, doing less, leaning back, that makes you feel like a failure. It makes you feel like you're going to be behind. It makes you feel that that's an active sabotage on your success. When really, it's not the pushing that's going to get you to where you want to be. It's the leaning back, allowing, healing that gets you to where you want to be. So let's talk about how this shows up, because if you can start to see the actions that you're doing day in and day out and catch them, then you can say, oh, is this something that has been conditioned in me as I'm striving for perfectionism and I actually don't want this anymore? Because many times we don't recognize our tendencies until we've already sabotaged ourselves and it's several months or years down the road and we're like, what the hell happened? And it's like, well, you were trying to do this perfect and you got exhausted. And then you went backwards. And that's what happens every single time when you strive for perfectionism instead of just pretty darn good, right? So when you're in a perfectionism pattern, we want to first look into our physical body, because our physical body will always tell us things far before our mind will. It's just that you haven't listened to your body, and most of us don't listen to our bodies until we're way past the point of our body is now screaming at us. We want to get you all the way to the point where you can hear those whispers from your body. Your body is so smart. It always has your back. And if you can start listening to it, then you can start catching these things far before they get out of hand. One of those things that you might be feeling is a tight chest, shallow breathing, and it feels like you just can't expand in your lungs. Racing thoughts over and over again. You just can't calm down that monkey mind. Thinking, I need to fix this. I'm off. I'm behind. I'm overwhelmed. I'm not doing enough. I can't rest. I need to push harder, right? You're either at one end of the extreme or you're on the other end of the extreme, and there's no middle ground for you. Being hyper-focused on your food, your movement, your schedule, doing things exactly right. And your behaviors, the actions that you might be doing, micromanaging your body. One of the big ones that comes to mind is weighing yourself every single day. I don't think that you need to weigh yourself every day in order to have an idea of what your body is doing. The scale, it has far more false information data for you than what you could ever have listening to your body. We all know what it's like to wake up and to feel like, wow, I'm making progress. I feel different in my body. Maybe I feel like I just have more energy. My body feels lighter. I can do things easier. I just feel good in my skin. And then we'll step on the scale and the scale either hasn't moved or it even went up 2 pounds. And then now all of a sudden, those feelings that we have, we start to tell ourselves that they were false. All because of the scale told you a different number than what you think it should say, right? Your body has the wisdom that you need to know. The scale doesn't. The scale is just one piece of metal that tells you your gravitational pull towards the center of the earth. It really has nothing to do with how you feel in your body. When you're weighing yourself every single day, you're looking to feel a certain way by the number on the scale. You're looking to have the scale tell you you're doing things right or have the scale tell you you're doing things wrong. So you will either step off that scale and feel like, okay, I think I got this today, or this is all bad. This is all wrong. I'm doing it terribly. Why isn't this working? And you feel frustrated and you're trying to micromanage everything by stepping on that scale. You're trying to micromanage your feelings, your thoughts, your actions, all based on stepping on that scale. Obsessing over your steps. Now, I love a good step count. I love to know that I got some steps in for the day. I like to check my watch at the end of the day and say, did I get to my 10K? Did I not? But obsessing over it and doing laps around my house to get 400 more steps, no thank you, ma'am. 400 steps in my day is not going to change my trajectory. It's not going to change who I am. It's not going to change how I feel in my body. Right? So obsessing over those tiny little numbers, if for some reason it gives you some sort of joy, that's one thing. But if it's micromanaging and thinking I must get to this or I will be a failure, that's when it's not helpful anymore. Micromanaging your food and your macros, trying to get your numbers exactly right and thinking if I go over by 5 grams, I'm a failure. If I go under by 5 grams, I'm going to, lose all of my muscle. And it's trying to like micromanage all of that in every single like tiny little bite, right? Our body is a complex system and we can't possibly know that 5 grams of protein is going to be a substantial difference for you day to day. That's why we aim for about so many grams about every day. And that consistency in action is what creates your results in the long run. It's not missing 5 grams on a Monday. The all or nothing cycles. So super strict 1 week, or even like let's divide the week in half because this is what I tend to see more often is that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and usually sometimes Thursday, I'll look at my clients' food journals and they'll be like on, right? They're like got all the stuff in there. It looks freaking amazing. I'm like, wow, I mean, it looks like your week went really well for you, but what happened on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? And the truth is, what happened on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is that they were exhausted from trying to restrict so much on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right? No chocolate, no, I don't know, wine after dinner, if that's what you love. No, I don't anything that you actually want to be having in your life. There was none of it, right? You stuck to a very strict plan. You did everything exactly right. You had all the vegetables, you hit fiber, you were under on your sugar, all of your stuff. You hit all the marks. And then by Friday, you're exhausted. And then you're like, well, it's okay. What it'll sound like, what your mind will sound like is like, you were just really good this week. You should just have this. You deserve it. You worked really hard, right? That's your mind trying to talk you into letting go and trying to find freedom, which you gave yourself none of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so it's trying to find some freedom Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And what you're actually doing is that you're sabotaging yourself, trying to find the feeling that you want in your body. And by Sunday, you feel anything but free because now you feel miserable. Because now you ate foods that you normally hadn't been eating and ate too much of them. And that those kinds of foods just don't feel good in your body anymore. And then you feel miserable and you feel guilty and you feel remorseful. And then you go through an emotional cycle of regret, remorse, guilt, all of that fun stuff, not fun stuff. And then you start Monday feeling like miserable from Sunday. And then you try to go in and you try to be super strict again, only to exhaust yourself again, right? Instead of just doing pretty good things most of the days. That's all. It can be that simple. Comparing yourself to others or feeling like you're always behind. I see this on Instagram far too much. The scrolling on Instagram, comparing yourself to somebody else's body who is half naked on Instagram, obviously, because they probably have like a very sculpted body. And the thing is, like, we're seeing one glimpse of somebody that actually has nothing to do with their entire life, right? Like, do they love how they're living their life? You don't know that. They just look good in a picture. They might actually like not love anything that's going on in their life. And they're micromanaging their day-to-day actions, their foods, their movements, all the things so that they can look a certain way in order to gain control. And then you're comparing yourself to that person when really you don't even actually want that life at all. You don't want that. But what you're seeing is not what you're actually getting behind the scenes. You're not getting that information. But you compare yourself to her, who seems like she has the ideal and she seems like she has it all put together. And then you compare yourself to her and you say, I'm not doing enough. Clearly, I'm not doing enough because I look nothing like her. I should be doing more, and I should be doing more much better than what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to go all in, right? And then you go back into the restrict cycle only to end up with the exhaustion cycle again. Avoiding rest. We're afraid to rest in our day and age. We're afraid to rest because nobody's talking about how cool rest is. Everyone's talking about how cool it is to do all these amazing things. And yeah, it is. But in order to do these amazing things, you have to rest. You have to have productive rest. And in order to get to where you want to be in your body and a body that feels good to you, you have to rest. You have to give your body that back to it. That's giving back to your body. Your body works so hard for you every single day, right? Its only job is to keep you alive, and it works hard. And then you deprive it of rest. And of course, your body is going to fight back on the lack of rest that you give it. So if you're thinking rest is just getting 8 hours of sleep at night, which also I know you're probably not doing, but outside of that, that looks like productive rest, which means that you allow yourself to sit down on your couch and watch your favorite show that allows you to check out of your brain for a while. That means you sit on your porch and you read a book in the sunshine and you don't let your to-do list creep back into your mind or cut your reading session short to go finish up XYZ, which also your XYZs just keep going. XYZ, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it just keeps going. You just never actually stop adding to that list. It looks like having time for yourself to feel uncomfortable resting. Because if you sit down to rest and your mind is like a monkey mind and it's telling you that you should get up and you should go do that and the dishwasher still needs to be emptied and you can't sit down until the laundry is put away and there's a sock on the floor and the lawn still needs to be mowed, whatever it is, that tells you and me that your nervous system is dysregulated. Because you really should be able to sit down and to be able to let those things go. Because that means your nervous system feels safe. It doesn't have to achieve and go, 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 and do, and check off all of the boxes in order to rest. It can just feel safe enough to rest. And so when you start productive rest, when you sit down and your mind is going, I want you not to fight it. I want you just to let it be there. That's so interesting that my brain will not let me sit here. What can I tell myself? How can I walk myself through this and allow myself to sit here? Even if my brain is still going to keep going, I'm going to teach it that it's safe for me to sit here and be productively resting. So if any of this sounds familiar, I want you to know that this is your nervous system being scared to relax, because it's been taught that safety only comes from performance. And now you get to decondition yourself from that. Because here's the truth that really cracks everything open for you is that when you see that you're micromanaging your actions in order to lose weight, balance hormones, feel better in your body, doing things perfectly, the micromanagement is a symptom of not trusting yourself. You don't trust your body to lead. You don't trust yourself to know what's right unless it's externally approved. You don't trust that healing can happen unless it's perfectly executed. But this isn't your fault. You were taught to override your cues, to not listen to your body. You were praised of being a good girl, the achiever, and the one that held it all together. So now, rest feels unsafe. Ease feels suspicious. And imperfection feels like danger. But those are just old patterns, and you don't have to keep taking them with you. So this is the part that we don't talk about enough. Healing from perfectionism doesn't mean letting everything go and hoping for the best. It doesn't mean turning around and not looking at things anymore. It means learning how to feel safe in imperfection. It means asking, what am I trying to feel when I chase perfection? I'm trying to feel in control. Do you need to have this much control? Can you find safety without holding on to everything, without carrying everything on your shoulders? Am I looking for peace? Am I looking for validation from somebody else? Am I looking for somebody to see me and recognize me and how hard I'm working? Can I create those feelings without needing to earn it or look for external validation? Can I create those feelings by myself without needing anybody else to tell me that I'm doing a good job, that I'm doing it right? So start small with this. I don't expect you to wake up tomorrow and ditch all of your perfectionism habits for imperfect habits. But I do want you to think about what action right now could you let be imperfect and let it be enough without overanalyzing it, without Googling the answer as to why or why or not it's working. Can you rest without apologizing? But really, can you rest and allow your monkey mind to tell you about the laundry and the dishwasher and the grass that needs to be mowed? And can you sit through it and let it be annoying? Set a timer, right? This isn't pushing against the loudness that your brain is telling you that it's unsafe to rest. This is about allowing. It's about it feeling kind of pokey and annoying. And it's about finding that edge of this discomfort and just letting it be there, right? You're not trying to push it away. You're not trying to love it unconditionally. You don't have to love these uncomfortable feelings, but you can just let them be there. And allowing allows you to evolve and decondition yourself from the monkey mind. Can you eat a meal based on how your body feels from eating that food? Not what MyFitnessPal or what your tracker says, right? MyFitnessPal and your tracker or your food tracker is just there to give you information, right? Just to support some decision making. And especially in the beginning when I'm working with clients, there's no idea on how much protein you should be eating a day or is ideal for your body. So we have to have some numbers that we can attach to it so that now we can understand, is this a better feeling? Is this a worse feeling? Right? Can you see how you can blend the two together, the data and the science, and also the intuitiveness and the ability to listen to your body? Can you say that this was good enough today when the old version of you would have said today was rubbish? You must start over tomorrow and it must be much better than today. One of the things I say over and over again in my coaching practice is you just have to make your next best decision. That means if all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and most of Friday were a disaster, and you maybe skipped half the meals, and the meals you did eat were Pizza Hut pizza and some handfuls of goldfish crackers, and maybe a couple days you ate a grape, right? Like it was just one of those weeks. You don't even know what happened. But you realize and you come to on Friday afternoon that you feel not so good. You're very tired. You're exhausted. Can you just make your next best decision on days like Friday at 4 p.m.? Instead of calling up Pizza Hut again to order another pizza to get through the evening, can you just make a better decision today? Just one, just this evening, and see what that does for you. See how easy that is for you just to make one next best decision. Because if you can do it once, you can do it again, and you can probably do it again after that. And that's how you create consistency. It's how you move away from perfect and how you move towards how you actually want to be living in your life, where you trust yourself, where you are in control without trying to control everything. At first, your nervous system will be like, it's not worth it. I don't want to do this. And that's normal. But over time, it will teach your body, I'm safe even when I'm not performing or being high achieving or checking every single box. I'm safe when I trust myself and my body. And that's when everything starts to change. So here's what I want you to reflect on today. Where am I chasing perfectionism because I fully don't trust myself yet? And what would it be like to begin shifting that, not by forcing trust, but by gently practicing it? You don't need to perform to be worthy of healing. You don't need to be perfect to get progress. In fact, you won't get progress if you strive for perfectionism. But you will get progress when you strive for pretty good actions most of the time. So if this landed with you today and you want some support on this journey, this is the exact kind of work that we do inside of my program. You can find all the links on how to work with me inside the show notes, or just come over to Instagram, send me a message, and tell me what I can help you with. I would love to chat with you. So take a deep breath, my friend. You're doing much better than what you think. I'll talk to you next week.